What is going on, YouTube? Lamont at large. Today, we are in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I'm here to talk about the brutal and senseless murder of one 29-year-old Sarah Maguire. And I'm also here to talk about why you cannot and should not help desperate people, down on their luck people, because it's stories like this that you should really, really be careful of the company that you keep and be very mindful of the people that you try to help. Let's go to January 4th, 2022. Officers with the Tulsa Police Department have received a call from some concerned family members that they had not heard from Sarah Maguire, and they asked if they can do a welfare check. So officers go to the house where Sarah lived at on the 3800 block of 28th Street West Avenue. They get to the house, they knock on the door, nobody answers. They make their way into the house, they're checking all the rooms, and there they see poor Sarah lying on the floor, beat to a bloody pulp. By the time they got to her, she had already long been dead. There was nothing that they can do. They call for the coroner's crime scene units to come and start conducting their investigation. So they start interviewing all these neighbors. So you can imagine this neighborhood with this crime scene tape everywhere. This is a pretty nice neighborhood, and you can imagine crimes like this don't occur in this neighborhood very often. So they start talking to some of the neighbors, they start talking to the family members, and a couple of names come up very, very quickly. And that is of one 28-year-old Nicholas Johnson and 25-year-old Brinley Dennison, a couple of derelicts that are no strangers to the Tulsa Police Department. Many arrests for drugs and theft. They're talking to the neighbors, and they said, yeah, Sarah let these two clowns live in the back of her home. I guess there's either a garage or there's some kind of shed. There's something in the back of her home, and that's where they lived. So they put out an APB because when they were looking at Sarah's personal stuff, they noticed that a lot of her credit cards and bank cards were gone along with her car. They called the bank to check on any activity, and there is plenty of activity. And some of the activity that they see on her stolen credit cards is coming from Fayetteville, Arkansas. So the police in Tulsa called the police in Fayetteville, Arkansas. They said, hey, please keep an eye out on this car. Sarah's car was stolen, and he's got these clowns, they're wanted in connection with her murder. So just a few days later, a Fayetteville, Arkansas police officer seen their car at the rear of a Whataburger. And when he went to check at the car, he sees two bums sleeping in the back. He radios for backup, knocks on the door with his gun drawn as it should be, says, get out of the car, get your hands up. So they're quickly arrested and booked into the jail over there. Now, immediately, these clowns, they start singing like a couple of dirty canaries. This investigation, well, there's not much of an investigation because they immediately confessed to the crime. Now, this in front of you right here, this is the house where Sarah used to live. And if you can see right there, right in the back, there is some kind of a structure that looks like that's where they probably lived right there. You can kind of just see the extra structure in the back of this house. I don't know if anybody lives there right now. The house looks somewhat empty. So they take these dirty characters into separate rooms and they say, okay, well, what happened? And they quickly confess to the murder. So one scabby looking Nicholas Johnson, basically he said, yeah, we lived in the back of this house that you guys are looking at right now. And my girlfriend, Brinley, was in a relationship with Sarah, and I was jealous. And I told Brinley that I was jealous of their relationship, and that's when we conspired to kill her and steal her stuff. That's it. And he beat this poor girl to death. Sarah Maguire was an artist. She loved drawing, she loved woodworking, and she loved her animals. She had a pet dog, Chandler, that she treated like her own baby. That is the structure where they lived in right there. And she was kind enough to let them in. These clowns are down on their luck. They look like a couple of meth heads. She was kind enough to let them stay in the back of her house. Supposedly, Sarah and Brindley had a relationship. I don't know how true that is. And they planned her murder. So after they beat her to death with a crowbar, they had sex in her bed. And they could hear her as these perverts were doing this, they could hear her like gasping for air, like struggling to live. And they didn't care because they're probably high out of their minds on meth and God knows what other disgusting chemicals that they're ingesting or injecting into their bodies. So right now, they are in jail in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I believe their bail is $1 million. And I don't think these characters, these scumbags, these filth bags, whatever bag you want to use, put in your own word. I don't think these guys have any kind of money to get out of prison. Hey, I got 2 words for you guys. Firing squad on these clowns. Very, very disturbing story of a girl that just sounded like she was a very sweet girl, a very nice woman. And these 2 demons, these disgusting, foul, perverted demons, defiled her house, murdered her. And can you imagine you're being beaten to death with a crowbar in this neighborhood? This neighborhood's very quiet. This looks like a very nice neighborhood. It's very quiet. And you can imagine that your neighbors, the kids are playing Nintendo, the neighbors are drinking coffee or having a beer, and this woman is being bludgeoned to death. Maybe she's screaming for her life and nobody can hear her. Nobody can hear her in this neighborhood, and it's so quiet. And can you imagine your last moments on earth are being beaten with a crowbar to death and then listening to the disgusting sounds of people having sex in your bed as you lay dying in your own blood? Just a disgusting story. And according to Nicholas, Brindley was in on this murder, and as they stole her car and fled this area, they were taking off the clothes because it was covered in blood. And that's when, while they're heading to Arkansas, Brindley's on the phone transferring all of the money from Sarah's bank account into hers. Why did they do this? Was it really because he was jealous over their affair? I don't know. But anyways, rest in peace to Sarah Maguire. Just a disgusting story. When you try to help somebody and they turn around and to thank you, they brutally murder you. Guys, be very, very careful. If you know people in your life that just can't get it together, it's always best to just wash your hands of the situation. I don't want you guys ending up like poor Sarah. You try to do what's right. You try to have a good heart. And that's what happens. Personally, that's why I keep my distance from most. Anyways, guys, be good out there. Be safe. Beware of the company that you keep. I'll catch up with y'all later on the next vlog. You know where to find me. Peace out.